Pike County Fiscal Court is called to order, and we'll have a roll call by the clerk, please.
Judge Rutherford.
Present.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson is ill. Magistrate Murphy will be here. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Here.
Magistrate Harris.
Here. Yeah. We'll have Pledge of Allegiance led by Magistrate Dodson.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a special meeting. The only thing can be taken up by this court, of course, is what's on the agenda today. The special meeting was set for the purpose of going to Frankfurt to talk to our legislators about legislation that has an impact on this county and the other 119 counties in the Commonwealth. It is an important thing. We try to take advantage of it every year and have a working relationship with our legislators in Frankfurt. So we look forward to that each year. We know that there are many things that we can't get done unless we all work together and we're all pulling in the same direction. I have reviewed the minutes of January 17th and January 26th. Jeannie also has reviewed both of those. We found those to be correct at the best of our remembrance and knowledge. You have a copy that's in your packet. But if I have a motion to approve those minutes, please. Magistrate Dodson, motion, second by Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. We discussed, and if you probably see on your monitor, we discussed the adoption of a resolution for declaration of emergency for State Routes 194 and 632, and I had asked that we be provided, the court, with the number of accidents and the deaths on this road in Pike County. We further discussed the fact, and Charles Carlton done some research on it and gave to Brandon the amount projected of severance tax that had been collected, and this is only a projection from that area of Pike County. And Magistrate Dodson was very vocal, same as myself, in discussing that when it was brought up at the last court meeting. The fact that these people are not treated like everybody else is treated. We discussed the fact that 119 is completed in Pike County, 23 is completed, and also that 460 is, if not completed, they're ready very soon to let probably the last contract on that to be completed. But we wanted to have an impact on Frankfurt, to understand that this area of the county, that people that mine the coal corporations and companies, and the coal miner, who mine the coal, and that was the point of the discussion that Magistrate Dodson brought up. So I hope that when you review the number of accidents on that road and the number of deaths, that we can get this declaration filed and get it down to the secretary, and so that they can understand that this section of Pike County. I'm going to turn it over to Magistrate Dodson, who has a passion for those people that he represents in his district, the same as these other magistrates. But I can tell you one thing, that his passion is very forthcoming in regard to this issue, and should be, because these two routes, these routes that get you into the Peter Creek area, and that is the only thing that's lacking in this county to connect this county together. It is an unconnected county. And I thought that when we held the public hearing, Mr. Carlton up to the college, and when I read what Magistrate Dotson had said about his district and the fact that of jobs and the fact that they was isolated, I thought it was one of the better presentation that was in the record that of the public hearing held at Pikeville College on an energy project. But I'm going to turn it over to Magistrate Dotson, and then I'm sure he'll make the motion authorizing me to, and I will declare that if this court so deems, and it should, of an emergency that exists today. We know the deaths that's happened. I think you've had 3 deaths within 1,000 feet of the interest of the cookie factory. And you got to remember what Magistrate Dotson said the last time, that we have 18-wheelers hauling both ways over there now on this narrow road. So the road needs to be looked at, the signage needs to be upgraded immediately, and a plan needs to get done and needs to get in the 6-year plan. I'm sure Magistrate Dotson will discuss this with the legislators while we're gone, because it is something we need in the 6-year plan so that we can start getting ready to make sure that something in the future years is done in regard to this road. Magistrate Dotson.
Judge, I thank you for your attention that you gave this matter, and I've received several calls since the last court meeting from the residents that use the road, and they were so pleased to know that maybe there's a possibility of getting some things done to correct our problems that we have. You know, the problem we have is a good problem because the coal is moving so good in that area. And, you know, without coal, we wouldn't be able to be doing the things that we do today. So we all support coal, but on the other hand, you know, we've talked to some of the coal companies that are putting in a lot of the coal severance money, and the coal is needed so bad that we probably need to support this, and I'm glad to see we have some leaders from the state here today to maybe help us address these problems. We've talked to them before about it, and they're all in to do what they can do with the funds they have to do with, and hopefully, you know, we can carry this on and keep it going and go to Frankfort with a delegation like some other roads have been able to see happen, and we just thank the court and thank you and the state for all the support we're getting behind this thing. And if we get it started, you know, maybe one of these days we can look back and say, well, we finally completed the puzzle that's been missing there in that area for the people to use the link into Pikeville. You know, we have a lot of traffic on that road, and it's very dangerous. And I just thank you and the court for your consideration, and I look forward to continue the efforts by bringing it up in the court meetings and see where we stand and see where we're going, and hopefully we can see something happen. Thank you.
Motion, Magistrate.
Motion,
Magistrate Dotson to have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Welcome, Magistrate Murphy. The same thing happened the last meeting. He got behind traffic again, but we're just getting started. So we have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson? Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. I will affix my signature.
Judge, if I could just add something to that. One thing, you know, that we probably need to keep in mind is a partnership between the coal industry and what we're trying to do. And, you know, they've done this in other states, is the coal company has come in and actually built the road while they're conducting the mining operations.
Coal
I don't know what
to roads, Magistrate Harris is what name they give it. And it's happening in West Virginia, and it's happening in Virginia.
and it's a kill two birds with one stone, and it really has been successful in other places, and that's something that we ought to keep in mind here too.
Well, you know, Judge, that area there could be so easily the top of the mountain taken off and getting the coal from me to over to Phelps, because the companies are willing to go in and do that. And Chris, like you say, if we can get the legislators to get behind this, and there's a lot of breaks out there that they can give the companies to do these projects. And I think that was probably one of the links that we were looking at I-66 down that stretch of the road there. But
about 3 years ago, this court authorized me to meet with our legislators in regard to legislation on coal to roads if needed. I kept that appointment. LRC advised us in the meeting in Frankfurt that we didn't need legislation, that the Secretary already had legislation in place in Kentucky. We have one project, Floyd County project, is coal to road project, that I don't know what route it is. It's hurled up on that new road. Am I correct? We have one project, coal to road. So Magistrate Harris is correct. We need to bring this to the attention of our legislators, and we need to move forward with it, and to keep in mind that we have one coal to road already under construction in Kentucky, and that we need to look at all options as we move forward in regard to discussion and to solve this problem for the people in that section of the county, and not let them be an isolated area anymore, and to open it up to the rest of this Commonwealth. We now have a presentation of the Rural Secondary Road Program, and Ms. Holbrook, you or Mr. Stanley, either one, who's going to make the presentation, both of you if you want to. And there's been a considerable amount of work done on this. The magistrates have been involved in this from the beginning with their road foreman and with the county road supervisor. So this is, we had some discussion on another program. It had nothing to do with this the other time, but Mr. Stanley and Joe, let me say, we're always glad to see you back and before this body. You used to be sitting at the table with and Joe is good for us to work with because he understands what we go through with 800 miles of road to maintain. No other county in this Commonwealth has a number of roads that we have to maintain, and it's a big job. And Joe, we're blessed to have one of the better road programs in this Commonwealth, as you know, and I would say this: all of our road foremen are experienced, and they do a magnificent job. All of our employees are experienced, and I know when we have Safety Day, Joe, and you know what that is.
I know what that is.
That we have most of the people who've been here the longest is in the road department. So we welcome you back before us again, and we certainly welcome you when you got money to work on our road.
Can I say first of all, Judge, good morning to you and members of the court. I'll introduce who's with us today. Mary Westfall Holbrook. She is our branch manager that handles the Pike County. She's also serving as our chief district engineer at this time. Paxton Weddington, he's our Pikeville section supervisor. Sean Ray, he's a construction supervisor in our Pikeville section. This is our annual visit to the court to make our presentation of our recommended projects for the rural secondary program for Pike County. I think the court has been provided a list, and these are merely projections. We send this to Frankfurt as our recommendations, in which they make the final approval of the list. This year's anticipated allotment is just a little over $3.2 million, which that includes regular maintenance of our routes too. These routes are more classified as maybe just a step above county routes. Most of them do not have center lines, do not have shoulders, so they have low average daily traffic on them. Also, out of that $3.2 million,
$594,000 this year will be flex funds, which is funds that's allocated to the county to be dispersed on county roads, RS roads. It's not on this list, whatever the county sees.
Mr. Stanley, I want to commend Governor Beshear, Secretary Hancock, and all the staff, even in District 12, because without the flex funds, and they didn't have to do that again this year,
Yeah.
but with knowing what the problem was, and I'm sure in the county that had the most roads, and we was glad when we sat the other day, the magistrates and myself, and heard the governor tell everybody in the meeting that flex funds was back again this year and in the budget.
Yes.
So you can proceed, please.
Now, this year's allotment for the flex funds is just a little over $100,000 more than it was last year. We're anticipating, after our expenditure for just a normal maintenance of $1.2 million on our routes, we're going to have just in excess of $1.4 million to spend on resurfacing, major drainage issues we may see, and that's the list that's proposed to you. And we're here to accept any recommendations the court may have, additions to it, or any questions you want to ask.
Okay. Any magistrate have Magistrate Dodson?
Judge, I'd like to address one little problem that Joe's probably aware of, him and Murray and the state people. We have a lot of coal traffic now, Joe, on Widows Branch Road coming out of Woodman and across the mountain, and that road is kind of breaking up real bad, and yeah. I don't see anything on here for that for this year. And if it's any way possibly that you had any extra money that maybe we could do a little something, because I noticed during the last month or so it's starting to rut out real bad, and there's a lot of coal comes across there right now.
That's something we'll probably have to look at after our snow and ice season's over and see how much money we have left. We just resurfaced that road, 2 years ago, and that's the problem you run into with these. A coal company will move in within a month's time on these little small roads. They'll destroy one. But we'll look and see if there's what we can do on that.
Any other magistrate have a question?
Please.
Magistrate Murphy.
Joe?
Yes.
Number 7 there, the Feds Creek Road.
Yep.
You got down for patching. I'd like to beg you to change that to resurfacing, because...
Well, we had that originally in our resurfacing, but
yeah, you told me
number 3 on the list is one of those routes where a coal company has moved into, and I mean, they have destroyed that route. Yeah. And we've tried to work with the coal company before winter, but we've not had any luck. So we're anticipating by the spring that road will
but some of these roads, are people travel them because they want to get shorter, but now the people on Feds Creek, they have to travel it.
I mean, we can change our recommendation to show it as resurfacing. Yeah. We don't get the final say on what gets approved. Yeah.
And creek banks, I talked to you on that. They're in bad shape and several dangerous places for the school bus.
As soon as the weather breaks, we're going to get on that.
Okay, but I would beg you to change that to resurfacing Feds Creek.
Okay. Any other magistrate? Pull his mic down. Attach.
Yeah.
Somebody got down under there and dug dirt out to block that railroad down on the road. Now the guardrails are back home.
Is that before the road lot, before Wolf Pit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you get in the big curve up there.
Okay.
It would be
that's something we need.
On your left,
see, that 195 is scheduled to be resurfaced from Poor Bottom out to 460 this summer.
That's going to break off now. It's bad shape now. The guardrail's already just about fell over.
Okay, we'll look into
it's
that.
About a mile on your left after you go across the bridge.
Okay.
It may not be a mile.
Okay. We'll look into that.
It's getting bad.
Any other magistrates have?
Judge, I'd just like to thank them for what they do. We have a real fine maintenance crew out there. People are just about don't need a 4-wheel drive anymore to travel, because they've got people out there keeping the roads clean all hours and night. And Joe, I know you guys get a lot of criticism, but it's like a court here. But But I just want to thank you for the good job that y'all do, and I've seen a lot of improvements on the breaks that Leo was talking about over our way. Y'all finally got the contractors in there to repair some of them, and things are looking better, and I just want to thank you. And Murray, I hope you a lot of luck with your new job, and we're here to work with you and not against you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the compliments. We get very few of those.
Joe, I want to thank you as well. You all do a good job, and it's been a mild winter, which has worked well for our budget.
Thankfully.
Yeah, that's right. So far, keep our fingers crossed. But I have had, and I talked to you about this at one point, was in South Williamson, we've got that area where the water just comes up out of the road. And I don't know what, I keep getting phone calls about it, and in the winter it's freezing, and last year it caused a couple accidents, and it's just a matter of time before somebody gets killed there.
I'll let Mary speak to that. We've had our permits inspector, or actually supervisor, he met us over there and looked at this, and supposed to be trying to contact that property owner to take care of that problem. A lot of that's coming from that entrance.
Okay, it looked to me like it was just coming up
There's
out
just
of the...
an enormous amount of water behind that one building.
Okay, and you're in contact with the property owners and try to get something? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. As long as you know about it and working on it, I appreciate it.
Any other magistrates have a question or statement? If not, have a motion. Motion, Magistrate Harris. Second. Magistrate Anderson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Yes. Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have approval of the ADF Area Development Funds request, and that's just a pass-through. That's a pass-through, and at the next meeting of I think we asked Mrs. Runyon to be on the agenda for the next meeting, and the board approves, and then the money comes to our budget office, and then the work is done. Okay. Have a motion?
I'll make motion.
Second.
Magistrate Harris, have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. We have on the agenda today for this special meeting a status of Coburn Mountain Road, and I asked the county attorney, that is a request of Magistrate Harris, on this problem that we have in that particular area. Mr. County Attorney.
Judge, the best that I can determine, there is a long-standing dispute between a gentleman and the Commonwealth of Kentucky over a junkyard beside what used to be a US 119, and it's been going on for decades now. And I think what has caused the current uncertainty or questions being raised is back on February 14th, 2011, Pike Circuit Judge Honorable Stephen D. Combs entered a findings of fact and order, and one of his findings of fact was that, number 2, that both the Pike Fiscal Court as well as the plaintiff, Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Highways, has abandoned this road pursuant to KRS 178.116. In the order, however, the order only found that the defendant was relieved of any duty to show cause for violation of any previously entered court order. If you go to 178.116, there's 3 standards for a road to be abandoned, and they are: A public need is served by the road, which it is, because there's 3 or 4 houses on that road. The road provides a necessary access for a private person. Again, there's 3 or 4 houses on the road. And number C, that the road has been maintained and policed by the county or state within a 3-year period. And again, this road has been maintained by the county within the last, continuously since we took it into the county road system. So the puzzling thing about this particular findings and fact and order is that the Pike County Fiscal Court nor any of the citizens in that area were notified or made parties to this action. So at this particular point, I don't know whether the fiscal court has standing to even file a motion, but my intention is to file a motion pursuant to Rule 60 to set aside that finding of fact. In any event, we have been maintaining Coburn Mountain. We have not abandoned that road. It is part of the county road system. I have instructed our road commissioner to keep the road open, and if there's any obstructions placed in it or anybody tries to close the road, for him to immediately reopen it or contact me so we can get a court order. So at this point, I think that I will try to intervene to see if I can get the order clarified or changed. If that fails, then my second thought is we'll just adopt it back into the county road system, because it's clearly a public road serving more than 2 houses. So we'll just adopt it back into the system if we have to. But that's kind of the status. I think you can reassure the citizens over there that using the road that we have not abandoned it. It is part of a road system, and that we intend to keep maintaining it.
I appreciate you looking into that for me, Roland. I got a couple phone calls from the citizens that live along that road who were concerned about what was going on, and I guess you hear things, and that gets people excited and worried. But I appreciate you looking into that, and I will pass that along to the folks that live along that road that we're asking. Thank you.
Next is the green space property owned by Pike County in South Williamson, and it's being used as a parking lot. Mr. County Attorney, would you also address that?
Yeah. This is an area, Chris can describe the area better than I can. I know where it is because I've been over and I've looked at it, but basically there's a beauty shop, and they have started using the area right beside the beauty shop as a parking lot. This particular space was donated to the county by deed some time ago. Now, the problem is that the people that deeded it to Pike County for a green space, apparently after they had deeded it to us, either through misunderstanding or a misdescription, also deeded it to another party. But we have not only the first deed, we have the first recorded deed to the property, and I'm in the process of filing a quiet title lawsuit action. Hopefully I'll have it filed Monday, the quiet title on that, to get a ruling from the court as to the ownership of it. But that has been the problem, is that there are multiple deeds to this property, but my research has indicated that we have not only the first deed by date, we have the first deed that was recorded in the clerk's office.
Thank you. And you say you're going to file that sometime this week or next week? First of next week. Okay. Thank you, Roland. Do we need a motion to have you file that? Okay. It's just it's a quiet title. Okay.
Next on the agenda, our fiscal court clerk is, to me, one of the greatest preparer of minutes that I've ever read, and over my years here, I've read a lot of them. But she works so hard to be correct, and it happens she left one thing off of the minutes of December the 6th, 2011. And when she was finally getting around to file it in the book, she found it, and
Jonda found it.
Jonda, our treasurer, experienced treasurer, who has been here and continuously looks after us. If it wasn't for the county attorney and the treasurer and our county court clerk, we could not operate here. So this authorizes the correction of December's fixed fiscal court meeting to add what, Madam?
Court Order 23.
Court Order 23. Have a motion? Motion, Magistrate Anderson, second, Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson? Yes. Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next, we have the awarding of bids, and we don't have any today to award. Next, we have Magistrate's road work.
Motion.
Magistrate Anderson, second by Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Magistrate's comments. Magistrate Anderson.
I don't have any comments, Judge.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Judge, I don't have any, thank you.
Magistrate Harris.
Judge, nothing other than to thank, I want to thank Damus and his crew for the work they've been doing at the Belfry Courthouse. We've got the lights, the parking lot lights that are up. 2 out of 3 are up and ready to be turned on probably later this week. And the cabin at Hardy Park is coming along nicely, and just want to thank that crew for the work they've been doing over there the last couple months.
I think we have a courthouse that we can be proud of, and the people of that area of this county can be proud of. And the access to the post office, access to the clerk's office, and access senior citizen, access to all those offices, sheriff, magistrate's office, and it's great. We had an opportunity, Bobby Branham and I, to stop by there just the other day, and it was great.
Yeah, the courthouse is a real asset to people out in the county, Judge. Pike County is such a large county, and traveling all the way to Pikeville to get their car licensed or pay their taxes is pretty burdensome. So it is a real asset to the people out in the county.
And I remember when Herbie Deskins, we honored him, and he was telling about the time that we had to go get the legislature changed to get an act passed to give a right for those officers to serve the people, the county. And again, it was hard to go down to those committees that we appeared before of the House and Senate and explain to them and get them to understand how large Pike County was and what size of county it was and how we was geographically isolated in areas. And we got approved a courthouse for Belfry and Phelps in regard to that legislation, and also included Elkhorn City. And of course, the county fiscal court, we constructed the city hall at Elkhorn City and the original fire station there. So we used that facility also to provide services from our clerk's offices to the people, as Magistrate Harris said, so they wouldn't have to make that trip. And remember what a trip it was. Remember on the old road, if it was the time the coal trucks was hauling, it took you about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes to get from Pond Creek and until the new road was built. And we still have that problem on a dangerous road going into Peter Creek even today. So I'm sure by the establishment of these branch courthouses in Pike County and keeping people off the road that had to make these trips into the county seat of Pikeville, that it has saved numerous lives over the years. Any other magistrate have any statement to make? If not, we'll move on to the treasurer's bid. Madam Treasurer.
Authorize the necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the following bills: payroll, health, and life insurance for the next 2 weeks.
Have a motion? Motion, Magistrate Robbins, second Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
We have accumulated about $4,000 more in donation money for the Bullex Digital Safety Smart Fire Safety Trailer that we need to send them another check of $4,000. They're anticipating a grant or donation from EQT to finish paying it off. So whenever we get the EQT monies, authorize a check to finish paying for the fire safety trailer in the amount of $21,441 at that time.
Let me say this, EQT is moving in yesterday to their offices, and I'm talking about personnel was moving into the offices starting yesterday. We know the amount of money that the EQT Foundation has given out in their service area. Last year it was $300,000. We asked them for assistance. Doug had talked to them about $25,000, which is a lot of money. We'd like to got it from them. I received a call from them right as their foundation meeting ended in Pittsburgh. And they said, Judge, we are elated that Pike County has the largest training trailer of anywhere in the United States. We want to use that trailer in our training. And I said, well, that was the purpose of getting it. Make it available to our coal industry, our gas industry, and also an educational trailer to our schools. I'm going to turn it over to Doug in a minute to explain how many that he's had through that trailer. But he said, Judge, we approved today over 45,000. I think it was 45.5 in regard to that trailer. And if you all will remember, we what my grandpa would say, we got this trailer on the come because we had to depend on our industry to contribute to us to go ahead and make sure we paid this trailer off. So they called the other day, and Jeannie, you will inform the magistrates when they do set it up. They said that they're going to be working with Jeannie, and they're going to fly in here from Pittsburgh, and they're going to present that check to Doug Tackett in this court for that trailer. And Doug can tell you what all he's done with the trailer since he got it. If anybody in this county has not been through that trailer, you need to take a tour. You need to attend it. I know the last meeting we said if you hadn't seen it to go up to the Mullen School because it's going to be there the next day. Doug Tackett, as usual, you put us on the forefront in Kentucky, and you've done it many times in regard to emergency management. So, Doug Tackett.
If you haven't seen our trailer, we welcome you to see it. Just ask. We'll bring it out, let you see it. It's in communities from time to time around the county and other counties. Since we've had it in August, we've had roughly 3,500 people go through the fire safety trailer, mostly school kids. Everybody has enjoyed it. All the kids have really learned from it. We took it to the coal rally in Knott County back, I guess it was September or whenever. And we had a lot of parents come in to see it because their kids had been talking about it where they had seen it through the schools, and they couldn't believe the resource that the children have to learn about fire safety. It's also not just for children, it also has industrial sections in it for coal companies and any company to train their employees on fire safety, use of fire extinguishers, and electrical safety as well.
Okay, it's a great asset to the county and a great asset to our coal industry and the natural gas industry. Have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dotson?
Yeah.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yeah.
Judge, while we were talking about EQT, I just know what I'm reading in the newspaper, that they're laying a lot of employees off.
That was rumors, Magistrate Harris, only. Oh. They cut no employees off. They have 141 today. They cut none of their employees off. Now, what they did do, like the coal industry, when the coal industry goes down, they back off a little bit. So they're not drilling any until the price. When they called me, I was in Lexington to a meeting, and they asked where I was at, and I said, I'll be in Lexington. He said, well, we'll meet you there because we understand there are a lot of rumors out. but there was a lot of rumors out that they had cut some employees off. They said no employees have been cut. Now, in their land program, which they had, I think, 19 in the county, and those, I understand, was sent in here from other places to do research for them. And also in the drilling component, they had about 22. They was transferring those employees back into West Virginia and Pennsylvania, where they had the new find in the oil fields. But those will be coming back here into this county as soon as the prop. It was bad luck, they said. The board of EQ3 was in session and said they had a board in there that gave the price of gas, and while they was in session, it went down to $2.82. And at that meeting, they took steps to back off a little bit. And that's what I was informed by official VQT and the Hyde in Lexington that day. And of course, I called Jeannie back and Brandon and said, get something out to the news media because I just met with the EQT. 26 of those 141 employees, Mr. Carlton, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're a part of the 100 that they committed to hire, and they have been operating out of the old Pikeville Coal Company offices. And those have been hard, and they got the rest of those to hire, the 100, before they get the $2.5 million tax break from the state. But of course, the gas business is down. We all know that. The price of natural gas at one time was $13, and now it's down. I don't know what it is. What it is the last time you looked, Mr. Carlton? $2.57. So you can tell. We just been blessed here, even in the coal industry. Harlan County, every major coal operation has employees. Knott County has cut employees, but as of yet, I don't know whether they had contracts or understandings on metallurgical coal, but we haven't had those cuts in Pike County yet. So right now we've been blessed. So we hope that this economy keeps climbing back, and I'm glad, Master Harris, you brought that up so we can clarify it again.
We're still expecting them
they'll be
come
back
with
in the game.
the 100 new jobs.
They will be drilling, yes. They'll be drilling, and they will be doing their land work here. So now what I've read that their agreement with the state is, and they prorate that. They prorate the tax thing. The 26 employees, they'll get that portion, and then as it climbs till they get the 100 employees. And the salaries on that was no less than $28 and some cents, which would have been $55,000. Now, also, we mentioned at the last court meeting, Alpha Natural Resources. You got to remember, we are, and it's because we got a progressive county government and a progressive city government, but we're no longer having these corporations put their corporate headquarters in Lexington. You know, I remember going when Al Gore's dad was president of Island Creek, going to Harrodsburg Road, Bobby, and I showed Bobby where I went down there to meet with him. And when you look at pull it up on the internet, look at the coal companies in Lexington. We're changing that. We're bringing the corporate headquarters here into this county. And you got 2 Fortune 500 companies who are putting their headquarters right here in Pike County, not Lexington. You know, and we've griped for a year. ARH Hospital has their corporate headquarters in Lexington. And I know you used to repeat, we keep saying Eastern Kentucky University is in the bluegrass, Moorhead's at the foothills, no coal, and the Appalachian Study Centers, where are they? University of Kentucky in Lexington, and that group down there, Pat and I was there and met with them for the first time year before last. They're against the coal industry. They're not for coal. It's got signs on the wall and everything. So, but get off the soapbox on that. But we having a progressive county government is changing things, and we're bringing those corporate headquarters here. That's what our comprehensive plan says is develop this county around energy and bring the jobs here. University of Pikeville is going to be part of the state system either this session or the next session. It will be. The question is not if it's needed in the 14 counties. The question is how you pay for it. So that will be resolved. Matter of fact, the governor's budget has the money in it presently. And my thinking on that the best money you could spend for economic development is have an educated workforce and have an education available. We are the most progressive county and city in eastern Kentucky. And if we get this in the court system, then we will pull these other counties up. We're no longer a distressed county under ARC. And we can pull all these other counties up so that we can educate our people and have them a good job here, a job in Fortune 500 companies like we're just bringing in and help bring in. But the only reason you're here is because we are a progressive county. So, and we're working, Charles is, with other major companies around this Commonwealth and this state to locate right here in Pike County. And with the property we're getting from the state on 460, look what that will be. 2,200 approximately level acres from the road building and the donation of property. So the future of this county and future generations, we're not going to have a new city, has nothing, it won't be in my lifetime or nobody here. But someday in the future, on that property up there somewhere, will pop up a new city and a new town. Right now, it's the regional area is Elkhorn City and Pikeville at both ends. At both ends. You have two state parks up there, Pine Mountain State Park at that end and Breaks Interstate Park. At the other end, you have the Fish Trap State Park. And again, the tail that wags the dog. We are the only holding of water that the state has a lease on, and we have a lease, the county from the state, that has not done any development on a state park. Zero development, Fish Trap. We're trying to get the road. We're still working on it. Leo's been involved in it. We've been to Frankfurt. We're meeting with the Corps. Had another meeting the other day with the Corps. And we got the money from the governor of this Commonwealth to build the road. And we got to get that done. That will open up so that we can then go to Frankfurt and say, treat us like you treat everybody else in this Commonwealth. We have a state park with no development, and start developing Fish Trap State Park. Does anybody else have any statement to make in regard to that? If not, Madam Treasurer.
Mike Lyons has been in receipt of a letter from Kevin Howard, Summit Engineering, concerning the Pike County Landfill Gas Project. Attached is the contractor's final Draw 5, release of liens and affidavit of release of liens forms. We request that you please sign and return these forms at your earliest convenience. The project has been determined to be complete and ready for final payment. The county will release the retainage upon receipt of the enclosed forms. Authorize a check to Shaw Environmental and Infrastructure Incorporated for the balance due of $10,000 on estimate number 5 for the final payment for the landfill gas project.
That's our methane project, Mr. Lyons, and we are flaring off presently. I had a meeting in Lexington while I was out of town in the last meeting in regard to the leachate problem we got. I had a meeting in Summit's office with Kevin Hurd. I authorized him to work with Charles Carlton and you and to file an application for the process that you all had furnished me to take down and discuss with him. I authorized him to have their grants person go ahead and prepare the application and that you all would assist them with the data that they needed and get it submitted so that we can resolve that leachate problem. That's also tied in with what we're talking about here today. That's tied into the energy. We are flaring off, but we're not in a position now to make any money in regard to what we can of the stock exchange in California. And hopefully we'll get in a position, whatever we do, to make the county some money as we do that. And then move this project forward and solve this serious problem we got of leachate. And I know that you all provided me the gallons that you have to haul, and we're hauling it. We're limping along, hauling it in a truck. That has to be that Jeff has to keep prepared and work on continuously. But it is a problem. I also found out they have one in Lincoln County, near Stamford, that's in operation. And I told Jeannie to set it up with Mr. Carlton and you and Mr. McNamee to go down and visit it. And also, I might add that our person that's assigned to us from Summit, under Mr. Lyons, that assisted him, and he'd been to Frankfurt. He's talked to the head of the solid waste division, and he said, I don't approve the grants, but he said, this is the best one that you can file, and I will go to every committee member when you get this filed and say, we need this program in Pike County. And once we get it in Pike County, then there are not many landfills. We was the third or fourth one that has the methane and has the wells, and one in Madison County, one evidently in Lincoln County, and one, I don't remember, what was the other county? Okay, so we know that we again are on the forefront of this in regard to energy and in regard to solving this problem. And we can boil it off, and that concept that I took down to him, I took the drawing, and he's going ahead and prepare that. Now, getting back to the treasurer, the inspection had been done on this, and they recommended. Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize it? We'd held this money back until we got the inspection done on it finally, and that the engineer signed off on it, and then we pay him. Am I correct, Madam Treasurer? Is that what we needed?
Yes, sir.
Have a motion. Motion, Magistrate Dodson, second from Magistrate Anderson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize a check when the NRCS funds are received to Walker Appraisals for $1,200 each, a grand total of $2,400 for technical review of appraisals on the Emergency Watershed Protection Program easement on Ernestine Stanley property and Eula Hunt property.
Let me say on this project, and Jeannie, again, want to commend you for the job you did on the bookkeeping on that. And I was glad the other day when I was able to sit with the lady who had the first project on this, and this is paying. This is NRCS has authorized, and we have to have certain type of appraisers done, and this is what's required by the federal code and the federal guidelines, and it's pass-through money. Am I correct, Jenny? Pass-through money to have a motion to pay. Motion by Magistrate Murphy, second by Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize a check when the NRCS funds are received to the Blake and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $2,400 for $1,200 each for self-contained appraisals on the Ernestine Stanley and the Eula Hunt property.
When I saw this, and it was from a Minnesota company, I believe, I said, why in the heck are we having to deal with a Minnesota company on these, evaluating these appraisals? And we found out, again, the bureaucracy of our federal government required this, and that they provided this company, said part of, had to be done under the Federal Act and the rules and regulation promulgated from the Federal Act. Do I have a motion to approve this pass-through money again, Jeannie?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
On this next one, there's Assistant County Attorney probably needs to give a brief explanation as to why the money left to pay R.L. Cottle is a little more than what we had anticipated with estimate number 6, because we thought there was only going to be like $7,000 and something left to pay them But now, I'm not sure how it ended up being we reconciled to this amount.
Based on the recommendation of the engineers, there was extra work done, and to complete a change order, this was the amount that was agreed on that was owed based on a change order.
Question I have, was the money in the budget? Money was in the budget for that? Okay. And that finishes Cottle's contract up completely? He has moved the pile of dirt he had over on our other property? Has the drainage on the other end of the EQT property, has he completed that drainage? I haven't been over there in a month, I guess. So,
Judge, the last time I was up there, they had a excavator sitting on one end of the road going into the entrance there, and looked like they were doing some work on the drainage on the part when you first go up and go in toward the gated area.
Are you talking about where just as we come off 119?
No, Charles, this is up near where the road forks off and goes over to EQT.
Yeah, anything that's to the right toward the EQT building where it forks, that EQT pays him on separate contract for that area. And so that's between him and EQT. But the portion of work for Pike County, he's completed.
now the property on the left, they are under design to put the first natural gas service station in Kentucky, and that is a proposal not been approved by the fully approved yet, but they have gone into design to make their decision on.
They're in the decision-making process, yes.
And they have set aside $2 million, I understand.
Approximately,
for that.
yes. But they have to go through their review of sites, and we think that, of course, that being adjacent to their building would be the best site, and that's what they will decide. But they still have to go through their formal decision-making process.
And Mr. Lyons, we're also looking forward, when that happens, to put the grant, ask for the grant on our trucks to convert some of the solid waste trucks, since we would have that facility. Also, Ms. Holbrook and Mr. Stanley, Mr. Weddington, and the others, they're also talking to the Transportation Department about some vehicles. What they intend to do, if this becomes a reality, is they're going to buy, they'll have, they got 141 employees, and they got 26 to hire, and then they got the rest to hire. That will be the number of employees working out of that regional facility. And they're going to buy 25 new vehicles as their plan, factory ready. They don't have to convert them. Then they're trying to work to partnership with the company to come in, and they would do the conversion part. So, I mean, as I said, they're moving forward on this, but they're not ready to make a formal announcement that it's actually going to happen until it goes back to their board. They've authorized them to do their designs and bring it back to them. We've been provided a picture of what it looked like. They asked a question of how they could advertise because we're kind of landlocked on 119 with the state and the Federal Highway Administration, and they would want to put a sign out there not only to where they are with their regional offices, but that they had a service station up there that would be available, and the price. And the price would be just about half of what you're paying for fuel today. One half. Am I correct on that? So this is, and we just had an announcement nationwide that one of the major truck manufacturers is now manufacturing trucks. And I forget, what was the name of the company? And they made that announcement last week. You now have a company that is, and that goes back to the people that this court, brought back from South America, from Colombia, that done their research in not Pike County. If you remember, we had to go to Harlan County to have a coal operator who used to be here who built them a track and provide them with a vehicle. And that's moved on to Wyoming, and they've already got the research done on the Cat 7. The Cat 7 study was done in TCO in this county on their off-the-road trucks would save $1.7 million on fuel only on their off-the-road trucks. So, I mean, it's great savings. And so that's, and Madam Treasurer, I keep taking up your time, but do we have a motion? Do we have a motion? I need a motion and a second in regard to that payment. You have a motion and a second. Motion, Magistrate Anderson, second, Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Reese?
Yes.
After having separated this next document to Mountain Enterprise from Jody Hunt, I see that there's actually two pay requests. The first estimate, number 1 pay request, is on the Scott Fork Industrial Park. Mountain Enterprise pay request number 1 is $201,961.61. Would it be appropriate to take up estimate number 2 under additional treasurer's business? I'll do that one in just a minute. Authorize estimate number 1 to Mountain Enterprise. This is for the funding from Kentucky Transportation. We will be reimbursed this money back, $201,961.61 on estimate number 1.
Mr. Carlton, again, so that the public will know, tell us how much money that Pike County Fiscal Court appropriated, and I'm talking about all funding from severance tax, and I'm talking about other funds that we got from Martin County that this county put into this project to get EQT here.
The approximate total is about $1,450,000, and that does not include the $300,000 from the Commonwealth of Kentucky for road construction.
Well, the state only put in $300,000 cash. Now, they give the tax incentive, and I have told them in Frankfurt, economic development, the governor, and everybody, that if this project would have been anywhere other than for Eastern Kentucky, economic development funds would have been used, and along with the severance tax funds, and along with other funds that this fiscal court has. But as usual, we're the dog that wags the tail. And we had to figure a way out, this court did, to get the third largest producer of natural gas in the United States to put their regional corporate headquarters in Pike County. And we had to take the money that we had, and we could have partnered with other companies, but again, that's how it was. We wanted those 100 jobs, and we do it, and we understand now that and that's fine. The governor's going to come up when they have the Grandma Jeannie's working with Pittsburgh. They're going to have a grand opening for the fiscal court, and the state. And the governor be here. We also know that Speaker Stumbo is getting 2.5 precincts in this county now, and he wants to be here. So hopefully, Jeannie's trying to set it up with Pittsburgh and the governor's office to help them set it up. Between when the session ends, I think it was the 27th of March, and then they go into recess or thereabout for 10 days, and then have to come back in April for the veto session. So they're wanting to try to set that up during that period. But again, we have had complete cooperation from District 12. I mean, Mr. Dameron has told them down there about the $300,000 and the exit that was put in over there that we had to have. So again, I'm explaining again why this contract over there, and this money built the road so that EQT and other people that we bring into that park, it is a commercial type road, 8 inches thick. How much was it?
Approximately 8 inches.
Approximately 8 inches thick, so that it will carry the traffic and they will have access to all of our property on that we will be developing. And we are working with a major company for another portion of that property up there at the present time. We're under a confidentiality agreement with them. We can't talk about it. And, of course, a lot of times the press would like for us to make an announcement because that's news, but sometimes our hands are tied. So our hands are tied to even discuss what's going on for the rest of that property over there, besides what we've talked about today. So we need a motion to authorize the issuing of the check for $201,961.61. And that money will be coming from the Transportation Department to the Pike County Fiscal Court. Do I have a motion?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion. I was up there the other day looking at that road, and I don't know if Frank noticed what I noticed or not. It's not one of the best roads that I've seen them do, and I don't know who was over it inspecting it. It could have been somebody, Joe, or in your department. I don't really know, but for a new road, I've seen better roads, and it could be where the compaction wasn't good or what, but it seemed to me like it had a lot of waves and bumps in it, for that amount of money that was spent on the road going up there. It looks good from the road, but when you drive it, you can see the little things that you had it went wrong. But I'll make the motion and we go ahead and pay them.
Okay. Anybody else have any statement, anything to make? Have a motion, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
We'd already once before authorized that Blackberry Volunteer Fire Department be passed through the $75,000 when received, but they're presenting invoices on a recurring basis. So we want authorization that as Blackberry Volunteer Fire Department presents invoices, we'd be allowed to disperse as requested up to the $75,000 on Project A404.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize that. I know they're in a need of some repairs on their stations, and we want to say we appreciate all the volunteer fire departments for the hard work they do, and it's a job keeping up the fire departments, and Damus and his crew does what they can, but we've got so many of them out there now, it's just hard to take care of, and I know these guys really appreciate this money.
Second.
Motion and second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
Yes.
Pass over the next issue. It was over the limit for them to allow a purchase order. Under additional treasurer's business, the sheriff's office has bid on 3 vehicles that they need wire transfer funds immediately, either out of their severance tax money or out of their supplement. The first is for the checks need to be made payable to the Community Trust Bank to wire for the sheriff's office for a 2003 Chevy Tahoe. The seller's name is Mawa Township, New Jersey, in the amount of $6,836.55. Then there's an auction site from Upper Saddle River Borough, New Jersey, for a 2008 Ford Crown Vic in the amount of $6,825, and a 2007 Ford Crown Vic in the amount of $6,321. If it requires 2 separate checks, one to go to the separate places in New Jersey, One would be for $6,836.55. The other would be for $13,146. If we can get by with one check, we'll do it to do both wires.
Madam Treasurer, both of these funds are money that's allocated to the sheriff.
Correct.
So, do I have a motion from Magistrate Roberts, second from Magistrate Murphy? Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson,
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Madam
Final-
Treasurer.
The final thing would be the pay request number 2 to Mountain Enterprise on the Scott Fork Industrial Park in the amount of $2,250 on estimate number 2.
Motion.
Motion, have a motion and a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Anderson, Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris. Judge Rutherford.
Advised by Judge Hayes and Brenda that we don't need a personnel session today.
Judge, we don't need an executive session. We do, however, have 3 very routine matters. I believe we've given a handout to each of the magistrates. These 3 matters, Judge. The first one is a posted job, weed mower / CDL driver for road lot number 1 at Johns Creek, 3H pay rate position. That was posted and bids were received several weeks ago pursuant to the desires of this court. However, our road commissioner, Mr. Hatcher, tested the individual who had bid on the job, and he has reported to me that no one is qualified for this position who has bid. We would therefore recommend, Judge, that this position be re-advertised, be posted and re-advertised. Hopefully we will procure a good operator for Magistrate Anderson. Secondly, Judge, we just need to approve Jeffrey Varney to be hired as a mini packer driver for solid waste area number 2 at a 3H pay rate, effective January 31st, 2012. He will be replacing an employee who is off work on workers' compensation. Finally, Judge, we need to acknowledge the resignation of Jordan Smith from solid waste area number 5, effective January 20, 2012. And Commissioner Lyons, we have that resignation in writing, as I understand it. That's the 3 recommendations we need to make, Judge.
That is my recommendation and my motion. Have a second. Have a second. Magistrate Robinson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Mr. County Attorney, does any commissioner or director have any statement, any questions, or anything that you need to take up? Okay.
Judge,
Yes.
if you don't care, I forgot to give this to you. It's from People Community of Mouth Card regarding the sudden link issues at the TV. Wanted
Yes.
to give to you.
Jeannie, this comes to you. You're keeping those. Thank you, Magistrate Murphy. This is a special meeting. That's all we have on the agenda. That's all we can take up. So we need a motion to adjourn. Motion, Magistrate Anderson. Second. Magistrate Murphy, have a roll call vote, please.